Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to get set up for the spooky photograms. So you are welcome to just do this in Google Slides. You don't even need to deal with Photoshop at all. So just to show you, here is the
Okay, you can just use the settings that are
final,
already here.
Oops, let me
I'm putting it on my desktop. Render.
Sorry.
And I'm not going to record. I'm going to end the demo because this might take a little while. So
not great. Okay, so here is the final
I'm demonstrating how
that I
to
created.
animate
the
our
text
polar
right here.
vortex
I left a little
world.
spot so I could add some text
just
afterwards.
to begin, you guys have a
can
square
see I've
document.
got, like,
you have a lot of layers,
I
right?
have a monster
I've
hand,
cut out
I have
pieces.
some spiders, I have a
They're
little
all stacked
candle,
on
there's a little
each
bit
other,
of
and we're going to learn
kinda
how to
foggy,
animate all these
misty
things to make them kind of
So
twist
how
and
did I
turn.
do this?
The first thing
these
we
were
need
the
to do.
original pictures that I put on here.
Probably too
so you
high
need to first
resolution.
choose what
it doesn't
size
need to be that
you want to
big,
print
so we're going to
stuff.
go up here to
so
image.
If you're going to do a 5x7 photogram,
actually,
you're
sorry.
Go ahead
the
and
first
set up
thing
a
we're going to do is
slideshow.
resave your documents. We're going to say
Google
File,
is the easiest.
Save
and I'm gonna just call
as,
this like spooky
and I want you to just call it
and
something
you
different
name,
because I don't want you to ruin your
and
regular file
in
case we want a high resolution thing later. So I'm going to call this your name and then
I would just
animation.
Make this either custom. You could do 8x10 is a standard size of photo paper that we have.
Mohammed.
So if you want to do an 8x10, go ahead and set your paper
okay, so
8x10.
now I've resaved it. Make sure it's something separate than your vortex world.
I'm just going to go ahead and
I don't want you to save over.
So I don't have to deal with the text box.
Okay, so say image.
If you want to have any text on there,
image size.
Feel free to keep a text box on there. That's no problem.
And we're going to change the resolution down.
I'm going to change this file.
12 by 12, we're going to make it 72.
And you can also change this later.
Because that's like a screen resolution. We don't need it so big.
Smaller one or bigger one. That's fine.
Okay, and then I'm going to say okay. This is why you're saving it as a separate file. So remember file, save as, because I'm reducing my resolution.
Clip art, etc. I'll give you this
so
website.
I've got all these separate layers, and I'm going to open the animation timeline
stuff.
So I'm going to go up to
for my spooky
window.
I'm just going to look for a heart.
And I'm going to hit timeline right
maybe
here.
I'll look for a skeleton.
Window
timeline.
timeline.
We'll see if there's anything. Oh, maybe this would be interesting.
There's a drop down here. See this little mini drop down? There's two options, video or frame. I'm going to make sure it says video, and then I have to hit actually this button.
Copy it.
Okay, and when I do that, all my layers pop up.
So think about
into this animation
the size that you want it to be. So okay, I want it to be the size. Now you're gonna
of my view right here. I'm gonna just make it smaller.
Or you could arrange your entire composition on here
and your
then
pane right here. It might be down at the bottom.
Not
you can stretch it.
But I did
you click
cutouts
down
for
towards
mine.
the bottom.
I printed a few different sizes, cut them out,
I'm gonna move this a little bit smaller.
Like so.
Get this out of the way and make sure I can see my
in this case, this image would show up as white.
Okay,
right?
so next thing I need to do, we've never done this. We need to make all these a smart layer.
So this would show up as a white area.
It's just this one extra step we have to do.
Let me go ahead and get another thing. Let's say.
Basically, when you make it a smart layer, if you resize things, the resolution doesn't
see if they have any
disappear. So we're just gonna make them all smart layer. Don't ask why, just do it. Okay, so you're going to right click on each layer. So next to it, you're going to right click
I'm going to get this
and say convert to smart object.
This one looked interesting.
Okay, I'm just going to do that for all of them. And you can see it's like going to put this little symbol, so that's how you know that it's a smart object.
And I wanted it to
convert to smart object. Right click.
Look as the original.
Object,
you can also, by the way,
convert to smart object. Okay, so now that they're all smart objects,
no problem.
I'm going to go over to my animation timeline.
Paste this in here.
And
so let's say I want to go ahead and make something
how long my
animation
is.
So that way when I print it in the Darkroom, it's actually a positive.
Let's see.
You're going to go up to format options. Right here.
So I'm going to do a 10 second,
and there's a
or maybe I could do a.
And there is an option to make it a negative.
Let me go out to 20.
So that will reverse it, so that way it will look.
All right,
the opposite after you print it in the Darkroom, just like the original, okay? So if you do have anything that you want, like let's say I'm going to get a monster hand, or my candles, for instance.
All right.
I'll show the candles.
And then, right now, my picture, we're going to create like a looped animation, so that way it looks like it continually is just going back and forth, twisting one way, twisting the other way, going back, never ending. So what we need to do is create a keyframe that says, this is where I want the animation to start and stop.
Anyway,
I want it to look like this.
Let me get the candle.
And then I want it to change in the middle. But I want it to start like this, and I want it to end like this. So how do I do that?
So something like this image right here.
Click the drop down next to each layer.
Right? If I want the flame to actually
and I'm going to hit this little transform stopwatch.
Then I need to make this a negative. So I'm going to right click, copy image.
Right at the beginning. I'm going to hit that, and you see it adds this little yellow mark.
Spooky photograms.
That's my keyframe.
I'm going to paste it in.
So I'm going to go to all my layers.
everything
open
black
every layer
is gonna
and
block,
hit
and that's gonna be
transform
white, and then
on
my
all of
candle
them.
flame
I'm
is
gonna
gonna be
scroll
black,
down
which is not,
and do that because I
you know,
want
how a
all
candle
my
flame
layers
is. So I can go ahead and go
to
here to
look
recolor, and I can
like
make
the
it,
document that you made.
Ooh,
in the beginning.
Negative. Where's the negative?
Okay, and then I'm gonna
There's the
go
black
take
and
my
white
timer
negative.
to the end.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say
Don't forget
I
you
want
can,
all of them to
duplicate
look like this in the
these
end
things.
as well.
You can have
So I'm
more
gonna
than
hit
one
this
image. If
and
you
make a
know that
little
you're
yellow
gonna cut
dot.
out some things and that you want
Okay.
to,
Add my little
print multiple
keyframe by
pages if
clicking
you
the
want to.
yellow, and you can see
All right,
it keeps
so like
adding
let's say I want
to each
multiple of these
right?
candles. It's hard to print them here.
So that
I'm
means
gonna
that's
go
where my
ahead and cut
animation's
these
gonna
things
start
out.
and stop.
You can print
now I'm
multiple
gonna take
pages
my
off, okay?
timer
But
to
that's how
the
you're gonna
middle,
get
and
your
then this is where the
document
fun
set
stuff
up.
is. So
So again,
10
that's file,
seconds. It
page
doesn't
setup,
have to be 10 seconds.
5 by
you
7,
can move it
7
around
by
for
5.
each one.
You can also do 8
Doesn't
by 10,
matter, but
10
I'm
by
gonna
8. And then you
click
can go ahead and print that directly to the printer
to add a
in
keyframe
here, so
I'm
that
gonna
way
click
you're
this,
not waiting on me.
and then I'm gonna hit Control
You can
T
also, let's say you want
on
to have
my
some textures
layer.
like so.
Let me zoom out, and now I'm
There
gonna
are some times
make it
where it's
maybe
better if
zoom
you have
out
it on
and
transparency.
twist.
So like let's say you want to lay something
All
down
right,
on top.
so I'm making it zoom out
it's
and
really
twist.
hard to layer the paper.
And if you hold
right?
Shift
Because
and
then
Alt
you're
at the
creating
same
twice
time,
as much for the
you can do that. So
light
now
to go through.
my
So you
animation
might
will
print,
go.
if you have a second layer that
can
you want
see
to
it's
do, that
twisting
second
out,
layer, I would
and
recommend
then
printing that one on transparency.
It's gonna twist back
so
in
let's use
to where it
let's go ahead and
started,
use
so that way it'll
tray
just
2.
constantly go back and forth. You
Tray
guys
2,
see
I
that?
believe, for
Okay.
anything paper.
I'm gonna go to my next
and
layer,
then tray 1
Control
for anything
T,
transparency. Okay, so just
and I'm
make
gonna move
sure
this
when you're
layer
going to
as
print,
well and shift that around.
that you choose the correct tray.
Maybe the
so
opposite
let's see.
way.
Let's say I'm ready to print
Go my
this.
third layer.
I'm gonna say File,
Control
Print.
T. Maybe this one I'll zoom a lot more.
And I'm gonna go
And
ahead
I'll
and
twist
go
this
to
one.
which one was it?
Maybe this
193, I think is the one that you guys have.
Okay, next one I'll add
193.
Control T.
And then make sure you
I
go
want
to
this one,
Preferences.
and maybe I'll zoom that one this way.
And then you're gonna
And
say
then
paper
I'll
source.
go to my background
Again,
layer,
just leave the paper type on unspecified.
another one,
but paper
and maybe this
source,
one I'll
if you
zoom
want
in
to
a
print
little bit.
transparency, say
Okay.
tray 1. If you want to print
So
on
now
paper,
I have all my
say tray
layers.
2.
They're gonna move
And
around.
paper is fine for the majority of your cutouts or the things that
That's
you're
it
doing.
for adding your keyframes.
If
you can
do
also
wanna
play
have
with
a
those
second
opacity
layer
if you
that's
want.
on top. So
you can
like
make
this
layers
fog,
fade
for
in and out.
instance.
I'll show you some
In
other
my
stuff
little
in another
example
video.
here,
But for
that's
now,
like a second
I just want you to
layer.
think about
That
twisting
one
and
should be
turning
on
and moving your
transparency.
things.
Okay.
You can add
All right, I will
multiple
go ahead and
keyframes,
post
but
this
I think
for
for
you.
simplicity's sake,